How I Met Your Mother. How I Met Your Mother.
How I Met Your Mother.
How I Met Your Mama.
Ted just had a huge date. How'd it go, dude?
I want to be married by the time I'm 30. And yet I keep falling in love with the wrong people, being really bad at dating. We wrote all that in the story.
You could have ended the show quite a few different ways.
There's an alternate ending to the show. I felt very connected to Ted and Tracy, and I sort of loved the idea of them living happily ever after.
So obviously the show just picked up so much success, and instantly you're kind of thrust into the spotlight as the guy who created How I Met Your Mother.
And yet you wrote The Mutual Friend.
Dating has changed. The whole game has changed, and now everything is on the phones. And that got me thinking a lot about technology, got me thinking a lot about like our relationship to technology. And that was sort of the inception of The Mutual Friend.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because when it comes to writing, and whether it's writing a TV show like How I Met Your Mother or a book like The Mutual Friend, there is such an element of choice involved. You could have ended the show in quite a few different ways. And this brings me back to a question which you've probably been asked before about the finale of How I Met Your Mother, which I actually really liked. I always wanted Ted to get back with Robin. I thought they should have done it, and the motif of the blue French horn, it's always the one that carried so much emotional weight for me. So I liked it, but unfortunately, not everyone did. And I was wondering, do you create a show or a piece of art? Do you create that for the audience, like necessarily for the audience, or kind of as a separate piece as itself, something quite separate and on its own?
That's a good question, because I think there's no. I mean, that's just an existential question for any artist, because I don't think there's any. I don't think there's any right answer to that. I think, like, on one hand, you have to write something that you're happy with, and you are the first audience member. Like Stephen King in his book on writing, he describes the reason he works without outlines. Well, the reason he doesn't plan his books out in advance is because he wants to. He's sort of like locked into this idea that as the writer, you're the first reader of the book, and so he wants to be surprised as a reader when Cujo the rabid dog attacks. Like he wants to surprise himself, and he wants to scare himself, and in that sense, your own barometer. You are like making art for yourself, and you are making something that you find satisfying. On the other hand, and this is the lesson I learned writing for Letterman, which is like there were plenty of times when we would make some bit of comedy that made us laugh as a writing staff. And more often than not, it was sort of the joke of it would be, could you imagine if we actually put this on TV? And then we'd want to put it on TV. And we'd put it on TV and it wouldn't get a laugh exactly as we might have expected. And, the lesson we would learn from it is like, you can't cut out the audience. The audience is the reason you're here. And the audience is in big ways and little way. I mean, just purely like from a comedy perspective, like if you don't hear a laugh, you have to change it. You have to change that joke. You might love it, but like if it doesn't get a laugh, don't do it. Don't do something that people don't laugh at. I mean, which and then that swings you back to the other way of like, well, maybe someone else will laugh at it 10 years from now. Maybe someone will laugh at it. It's there's no way to know. There's no way to know. But I do know that I don't know. It's not all for the audience, and it's not all for the writer, but it's somewhere in between, I think, for sure.
I mean, did you like the finale? I'll ask you that first of all.
I'm just going to say there's an alternate ending to the show that I really like. That it was the last thing that I did on the show. It was with Bob Saget. It was like the last thing I did working with Bob Saget that I felt like. Also, just on an emotional level, I felt very connected to Ted and very connected to Tracy, and I sort of loved the idea of them living happily ever after. I'm not going to say I don't know. I feel like it's a very complicated issue, and it's a very I guess I'm just happy that there are two endings out there, and that if I don't know, not that television should be something you order off a restaurant menu, but I like that there is a version where there's a happy ending for Ted and Tracy. I don't know. I guess I like them both. I don't know. No comment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know how to answer it, honestly. But yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Well, just as fan service, maybe could you go a little bit more into detail about how the other ending might have gone down with their happy ending for Ted?
It's on YouTube, and people can watch it. They can find it. And it was released on the DVD set. So it's there if people want to see it.
It's so interesting though that kind of two endings exist, because it really makes you kind of aware of almost the artificiality of a piece of art or a TV show. There is someone creating it. There is someone making those decisions. So you have two endings that actually coexist within the same universe. They're not really separate from each other in some way. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. It's, I don't know. I feel like it's a complicated thing. And I mean, there is, it's the ending is the ending, and we have an official ending, and I'm proud of the show, and I love the show. And I think I'll leave it at that. But,
sure.
Maybe it was just scratching my own little itch to like see. I mean, part of it, I had just gotten married at the time, and I sort of felt like this connection with Ted and Tracy. So I'm glad that we were able to do that. I was able to like just put that together. But anyway, I don't want to be on record saying I didn't like the ending. I love the ending. I love the whole series. But yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Ever shown up to the beach with a big bush, getting rejected left, right, and center, so you have to walk away with your pubes between your legs? Then get yourself a Manscaped and rule the beach. Wear your shorts with no shame. Get the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra now with a discount code LOAF to get a full 20% off, so that your baguette leaves no crumbs. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that short clip of our episode with Carter Bays. If you want to see the full episode, click right here, where we got loads more nuggets of gold. Please like and subscribe to check out our other videos. We've got a huge range of guests, from actors to politicians to academics to sports people. So please do check it out. And as always, I'll see you guys next time.